So as you see, once again, Perrodin, the project specialist, my 1025R sitting there getting ready for a scoop of firewood. Forgive me, I'm dressed for northern Wisconsin here in December, and in my work gear, but just want to really spend a minute talking about this. And you'll hear the guy from Good Works Tractor. You'll hear Tractor Time with Tim. And yes, I love their sites. But you hear them talking about the wheel spacers and proper weighting of a tractor. I know it's a huge item, okay? Simply, I've lived it firsthand. My dad was actually killed on a Massey Ferguson because you see how low the hitch is on this tractor. Okay, the Massey Ferguson at that time had a drawbar that was up above the back axle, and he landed up, he was helping a friend of his, and they got a log truck stuck, and so it was at my friend's farm, or his friend's farm, and got a log truck stuck and landed up, they hooked onto it with that tractor, and Dad was going to pull him out, or try to pull him out with that log truck and with that tractor. And the front end of the tractor came up and flipped over on top of him, and he landed up, the steering wheel crushed his chest. That morning I was outside playing. I heard the ambulance go through town, and I saw the ambulance come back. And I was about 4. I'm 61 now. It still haunts me. Yeah, it gets easier with time, but it shouldn't have happened. So I have always been extremely careful with a tractor, and I've been driving one since I was 8 years old. Started out on an old Alice Chalmers C, and I had pretty good tutelage with my grandfather. And so you've really got to respect these things. And these 1025Rs, you see them. I am extremely cautious whenever I get on the slope of them. In the last year, I've got a 1026R2 that I've got down at a different property, but these ramp bars are up on this all the time. And when I had the 1026 2 years ago, I bought that, I kind of kept them down. That's another reason when it comes to mowing, you see it all the time on the John Deere sites on whether you should get a mid-mount mower for the 1025R. If you have a lot of property, I would consider it. Now for me, I've got a small lawn and I've got trees. And so those ramps get in the way of the branches, but I don't want to eliminate that. The ramps have got to be on. The other thing you notice is I got a back blade for this, and that gives me the extra rear end weight. You'll notice when I'm digging my 3-season room, I didn't have this, box blade on the back. And I had those back tires bouncing off the ground a couple times. I kept the bucket really, really low to the ground, so that if it did start to go over, that bucket would stop it from going over, because it was so close to the ground, it could only travel probably 4 inches at the most, or 3. And then I and so today, and I was seat belted in. That's where I was going to go. Seat belted in and had the romps up. But this being a 24 by 24 hole, it would have been hard to have the weight on the back. Okay, because there wasn't much room to manipulate, because it didn't start as a 24 by 24 hole either. It started as an 8 by 8 by 8 hole, probably. Not even, and we worked, it started as a ramp going down. So, I didn't have a box blade or weight on the back, just simply to be able to maneuver around. Probably a mistake. So the longer I owned these tractors, I had a 445 before that. The very first time I backed that out of the shed, and I had the bucket up in the air, and I turned it on a slanted driveway, concrete driveway, and I had two wheels off the ground, one side totally off the ground, because I had that bucket up in the air. You do not want that center of gravity up in the air. And I darn near flipped it, laid it on its side, and I should have. I really should have. I got lucky. And, that 445 isn't a light tractor by any means either. The reason I went to 1026R and 1025R is a little bit bigger tractor, one. Two, at that time I had the apartment building, and that's on a hill. So I wanted the four-wheel drive, where the 445, that thing was indestructible. Just whatever I did with that, it just took it, And so you got to be careful with these things. That I didn't have front weight or back weight issues with the 445, although I had a decent amount of weight hanging on the back too on that. I had the suitcase weights. It wasn't like I tipped the back end up in the air at all. But where this one here has got the power to pick the back wheels off the ground, without a doubt. And I hugely respect this thing, even on the gentlest of slopes. And I see the one video with Tractor Time with Tim, and he's got a friend on the tractor, and they're cutting a ditch line, and of course I'm not there, and I'm sure Tractor Time is being safe, but makes me nervous. It's a heck of a lot easier to be safe than to be sorry. You just gotta common sense. And if you're buying one and you haven't grown up, I love to watch the Laura Farm videos too, because here you got a young couple in Nebraska. They're running the biggest and best of the equipment that's out there today. And I grew up, we had ginseng. So I grew up running a 425 or John Deere with then an International B also for spraying the ginseng crop. But so, I enjoy watching her videos, just looking at the new equipment and that they have that's out there, and they always seem to be doing something, like I always seem to be doing something. So that's kind of cool. But equipment's a great thing. My wife says the best tool that we have is this 1025R. And, she uses it quite a bit too. And you just got to be, with anything, it can bite you in a hurry. So you just got to be super careful with it. And if you, especially until you learn that piece of equipment, like I said, I've driven tons of farm equipment throughout the years. I worked at County Materials during the summertime, ran a payloader every now and then. I've had a decent amount of experience with equipment, And every one of them is a little bit different and has different characteristics, and you got to make sure that you learn that thing real thoroughly before you begin to push out and see what, you know, what the maximums are on its capability. Um, you know, and you don't need to go there. For me, this thing is just, it takes a lot of pressure off of the, you know, off my back and that kind of thing. And with owning multiple properties, it's sure nice to have a piece of equipment to do any of the landscape and yard maintenance and be able to get it done yourself. That's another video. All the stuff that I've done myself, and my neighbor said, you know what? He said, I wonder how many tens of thousands of dollars you've saved over your, you know, your lifetime doing the things that you do alone. But anyways, for today, I'm trying to make sure I don't overly ramble. But for today, Perrodin the Project Specialist, hit that like button, respect the tractors. And yes, I need to get a set of those. I'm due for a maintenance on this thing. So the next time I do the maintenance, and I got to pull the rear tire off anyways, I think, I just want to be able to go, well, I got it in the bay, just go right around, put those 2-inch wheel spacers in from Bora. So it makes sense. I should get that done. I got the weight on the back. I should be pretty well set. Sometime I'd like to look at a, you know, one of those grapple bucket or grapple attachments that can go on the bucket. But then I think about that, and I think my days of, you know, doing a whole lot of tree felling and cleanup on that are kind of winding down. We'll let some younger people deal with that stuff. Perrodin the Project Specialist. Have a good day.